Connor and Madison barely know him anyway. My name is Carter Reynolds. I'm 42 years old. I run Reynolds Security Solutions. Rebecca, my wife for 8 years, just said that about me to Ethan Morrison, a guy I thought was my friend. I heard every word through my surveillance system. They were at the Ritz-Carlton downtown, room 2847. Rebecca wore a $15,000 diamond bracelet I never bought her. Ethan bought it with $23,000 he stole from our joint account. Rebecca laughed when she said my kids barely knew me. Ethan said, after the divorce, they'll understand Daddy was never there. Rebecca nodded. We'll make sure they see the truth. 8 years married. 12 years Army intelligence. 15 years building my business to $2.3 million annual revenue. These idiots thought they could take it all. If you like stories about cheaters getting exactly what they deserve, hit like and subscribe right now. We post new stories daily, each one crazier than the last. Back in 2013, I left the Army after 12 years in military intelligence. Started Reynolds Security with $50,000 saved and a laptop. Corporate security consulting, helping companies protect data, executives, secrets. Businesses pay big money for someone who thinks like the bad guys. Met Rebecca Walsh at a charity dinner for Chicago Children's Hospital. She was 28, I was 34. Real estate developer specializing in luxury downtown condos. Drop-dead gorgeous with auburn hair and confidence that made every guy notice her. Rebecca grew up rich. Dad Robert Walsh is a U.S. Senator. Mom Patricia Walsh is a federal judge. They lived in a $3 million Lincoln Park house, sent Rebecca to private schools her whole life. She expected the best of everything. First date cost me $300, dinner at Alinea, Chicago's fanciest restaurant. Rebecca ordered the most expensive wine without looking at prices. Should have been a warning sign. We moved fast. 6 months, she was staying at my apartment most nights. 1 year I proposed with a 3-carat ring that cost $18,000, 2 months' salary. Wedding was everything Rebecca wanted. 200 guests at Palmer House, open bar, 7 courses. Total cost $85,000. I paid it all. First few years felt like winning the lottery. Business growing fast. Rebecca making good money selling high-end condos. Bought a 4-bedroom Lincoln Park house for $1.2 million. 2 BMWs in the driveway. Europe vacations twice yearly. Rebecca loved the lifestyle my success provided. Designer clothes from Nordstrom. $3,000 shopping trips without thinking. First-class flights everywhere. Dinners where entrees cost $60. She'd tell friends how successful her husband was. By 2016, I was pulling serious money. Reynolds Security had 12 employees, major corporate contracts. Rebecca said she was ready for kids. Connor born March 15th, 2016, 3:22 a.m. 7 pounds, 4 ounces. Screamed so loud nurses next door heard him. Madison 12 minutes later, 6 pounds, 11 ounces, so quiet we worried. Both perfect. Kids changed everything for me. Started working longer hours, taking bigger clients, pushing harder than in the Army. Every contract, every late night was for their future. Rebecca seemed to understand. Brought me coffee during late office sessions. Massaged my shoulders when cases stressed me out. Bragged to mom friends about how hard I worked for our family. 2018, things changed. Rebecca had phone conversations that stopped when I entered rooms. Started going to social events without me, galleries, charity dinners, industry parties. When I asked why I wasn't invited, you're always too busy with work anyway. That's when Ethan Morrison appeared. Rebecca introduced him as a business partner. Guy was 35, divorced, no kids. Black BMW M5, 2000er suits. Had this easy charm, could walk into any room and have everyone listening within 10 minutes. Rebecca said Ethan had commercial real estate connections for her expansion plans. They'd partner on some big downtown development project. She'd spend hours at his office planning strategy, come home talking about how brilliant he was. I liked Ethan immediately. Stupid mistake. He'd come for dinner every few weeks. Brought expensive wine, 100+ bottles. Had gifts for Connor and Madison, toys, books, stuffed animals. Kids loved him. Ethan and I would sit in my living room after dinner drinking whiskey and talking. Sports, politics, business strategy. He seemed interested in my work, asked smart questions about corporate security, expressed admiration for military service. What I didn't realize, every conversation was intelligence gathering. Every question about my business was learning how to destroy it. Every compliment was studying my weaknesses, figuring how to exploit my trust. 2019, Rebecca's attitude toward me completely changed. Everything I did annoyed her. How I loaded the dishwasher. Hours I worked. How I disciplined kids. Arguments came from nowhere. Children need their father present, she'd say during fights when I was most work-stressed. Money isn't everything, Carter. Family should come first. The irony made me angry. I worked 70-hour weeks specifically for my family. Every contract, every client, every late night was so Rebecca and kids could live in our beautiful house. Twins could attend Chicago's best private school. Rebecca could maintain her wealthy upbringing lifestyle. But even criticizing my work schedule, Rebecca never suggested cutting expenses. Still wanted designer clothes costing more than most people's monthly salary. Still wanted luxury Tuscany and French Riviera vacations. Still wanted expensive dinners where wine bottles cost $200. Meanwhile, Ethan became permanent fixture. Showed up Saturday mornings with fancy coffee and bagels. Stayed for Connor's soccer games, Madison's dance recitals. Helped put kids to bed, went over for dinner, reading stories in voices that made them giggle. I told Ethan things I shouldn't have. Details about biggest clients. Which companies worried about data breaches. Which executives needed protection. Our family finances, savings amounts, investment accounts, life insurance policies. Thought I was talking to a friend. Actually giving intelligence to an enemy planning to destroy my life. Breaking point, February 2020. Just back from week-long Seattle job. Tech company data breach. Needed immediate damage control. Client paid $75,000 for 7 days work. Exhausted but excited to spend family time. Instead, walked into house full of strangers. Rebecca barely looked up from laptop. Quick, oh, you're back, like I was the mailman. Connor and Madison, who usually ran screaming daddies home after trips, seemed shy. When I asked what was wrong, Rebecca said something that hit like a punch. They're not used to you being here anymore. You've become a stranger in your own home. That night, lying next to a woman who felt more distant than when we were dating, I made a decision. Figure out what was happening to my family and fix it. Investigation started small. 12 years military intelligence teaches you, don't jump to conclusions. Gather data, analyze patterns, build complete pictures before acting. Started with Rebecca's laptop, MacBook Pro she used for work but left open in kitchen while making coffee or getting kids ready for school. Had about 10 minutes most mornings while she dressed upstairs. Most people don't understand deleted files. They're never really gone. When you delete something, computer marks that space as available for new data. Until something overwrites it, everything stays exactly where it was. Rebecca cleared browser history and emptied trash but didn't know about shadow files and cache recovery. Took exactly 3 hours, 17 minutes to rebuild her entire digital footprint from past 8 months. What I found made me sick. Romantic stuff started June 2019. Text messages between Rebecca and Ethan beginning as business discussions, quickly becoming personal. July, they were meeting for lunch meetings lasting 3 hours. August, Rebecca sending him photos, wearing lingerie I'd bought, posed in our bedroom while I traveled for work. But affair was just surface layer. Underneath, detailed plan to systematically destroy my life. Rebecca and Ethan plotting for months. Strategy was sophisticated, targeting every aspect of my existence. They'd claim I used security equipment to illegally spy on competitors, destroying professional reputation, opening lawsuits that would bankrupt Reynolds Security. They'd argue I was psychologically unstable, obsessed with surveillance and control, potentially dangerous to family. Rebecca's mother, Judge Patricia Walsh, would help ensure custody battle went their way. Father Senator Robert Walsh had connections throughout Chicago's legal and business communities who could blacklist me from future contracts. Most damaging document, draft custody petition, Rebecca worked on with divorce attorney Lawrence Sterling. She painted me as emotionally distant workaholic who abandoned family responsibilities pursuing financial gain. Claimed children were afraid of father's unpredictable behavior and excessive control need. Suggested I might be dangerous, noting extensive military training and surveillance equipment access that could intimidate or harm family members. Every word calculated to destroy me. Every lie crafted to seem believable to judges who didn't know me. Rebecca and Ethan spent months building case that would give them everything I'd worked for, ensure I'd never rebuild. But there was something else in those files. Reference to sealed 2011 court case involving Walsh family. Something about traffic accident handled discreetly through family connections. Realized I wasn't playing defense anymore. Going on offense. Next phase required military intelligence skills I'd hoped never to use against people I loved. Began systematic surveillance of Rebecca and Ethan, documenting movements, communications, financial activities. Installing surveillance equipment in my own house felt surreal but necessary. Used company equipment, tiny cameras hidden in smoke detectors and picture frames, audio devices smaller than quarters in Rebecca's purse and car. GPS tracker on that 15,000 diamond bracelet Ethan gave her. 2 weeks later, had everything needed. High-definition video of Rebecca and Ethan in hotel rooms at Ritz-Carlton, Four Seasons, Peninsula. Audio recordings discussing plans to destroy me, including specific lies they'd tell in court and how they'd split my assets. Most valuable intelligence came from Ethan's phone. Like most criminals, he'd gotten arrogant about security. Password was his birthday, February 14th, Valentine's Day. Should have been first clue about his narcissism. Once I accessed his device, discovered true scope of their financial planning. Ethan had opened 3 offshore accounts, 2 Cayman Islands, 1 Switzerland. Been systematically transferring money from investment account he shared with Rebecca, planning to disappear once divorce was finalized and Rebecca claimed half my assets. Numbers were staggering. Past 6 months, Ethan moved $340,000 offshore. Money from our joint investments, Rebecca's business profits, even loan he'd taken using our house as collateral without telling me. He'd also booked one-way first-class ticket to Monaco for March 15th, exactly 2 weeks after Rebecca planned filing divorce papers. Plan was obvious. Let Rebecca destroy me in court, take half my money, then disappear with stolen nest egg while she stayed behind playing wounded ex-wife. This wasn't just betrayal. Organized theft on massive scale. Investigation into Walsh family buried secrets took 3 weeks but proved most valuable intelligence I'd ever gathered. Sealed 2011 court case involved Rebecca's younger brother, Timothy Walsh, who killed entire family while driving drunk. Victims were Maria Rodriguez, 34, nurse at Children's Memorial Hospital. Husband Carlos Rodriguez, 36, construction worker. Daughters Isabella, 8, and Sophia, 5. Driving home from Sophia's Chuck E. Cheese birthday party when Timothy Walsh, drunk and driving father's Mercedes 70 mph in 35 mph zone, ran red light and slammed into their Honda Civic. All 4 Rodriguez family members died instantly. Timothy Walsh walked away with bruised rib. Judge Patricia Walsh made sure her son never faced real consequences. Evidence suppressed. Witnesses intimidated into changing stories. Prosecutor convinced to accept plea deal sending Timothy to private rehab 6 months instead of prison for vehicular manslaughter. Senator Robert Walsh made strategic campaign contributions totaling $150,000 to District Attorney's re-election fund, ensuring son's freedom. 12 years, Rodriguez family's extended relatives tried getting justice. Every lawyer consulted told them case was hopeless because evidence was sealed and Walsh family had too much political influence. Spent 3 weeks verifying every detail, cross-referencing court documents with financial records, tracking witnesses paid to stay quiet. Assembled ironclad proof Walsh family corrupted justice system to protect killer. Now had leverage to destroy them all. First, let Rebecca and Ethan make their move. Wanted to see exactly how far they'd go. Call came Tuesday morning, early March. Lawrence Sterling, Rebecca's attorney, voice dripping arrogance. Mr. Reynolds, everyone's best interest if we met discussing your wife's petition. Certain matters better resolved privately rather than messy public litigation. Sterling's office, 47th floor Willis Tower. Mahogany furniture, leather law books, walls covered with aggressive family law representation awards. Guy clearly made good living destroying husbands. Sat behind massive desk like king on throne, sliding thick folder across polished surface. These are Mrs. Reynolds' terms. Sign these documents, avoid court battle you're guaranteed to lose. Opened folder, read demands. Rebecca wanted full custody Connor and Madison, me allowed supervised visitation 1 weekend monthly. Our house, both BMWs, 60% of Reynolds' security assets, about $1.4 million. Alimony $8,000 a monthly next 15 years. Sterling leaned back in leather chair, clearly enjoying what he assumed was my shock. Mrs. Reynolds has substantial evidence of your inappropriate behavior. Surveillance equipment obsession. Emotional absence from children's lives. Military interrogation techniques in business suggesting possible psychological instability. Paused for effect. Judge Patricia Walsh already reviewed preliminary evidence, indicated she'd look very favorably on Mrs. Reynolds' petition. Judge Walsh, Rebecca's mother. Highly respected federal judiciary member with impeccable fairness and integrity reputation. She'll recuse herself from official proceedings, but her preliminary assessment carries significant weight with colleagues throughout circuit. Closed folder, stared at Sterling long moment. Reached into briefcase, pulled out manila envelope, placed carefully on his desk. Give this to your client. Tell her to read very carefully before deciding how aggressive she wants to be. Sterling frowned, not accustomed to being dismissed easily. What exactly is this? Just deliver it, Lawrence. Might want to start looking for new client. Envelope contained everything. High-resolution photos Rebecca and Ethan in hotel rooms. Printed copies, text messages planning my destruction. Bank statements showing money they'd stolen from accounts. Financial records proving Ethan's offshore theft. Most importantly, complete investigative file on Rodriguez's case, including new evidence that could finally bring Timothy Walsh to justice and destroy Walsh family's carefully constructed public image. First phone call came 6 hours later. Rebecca, voice shaking with rage and terror. Carter, we need to talk. Right now, no, Rebecca. Everything I have to say is in that envelope. You don't understand what you're doing. My family has connections throughout this city. They can destroy you in ways you can't imagine. Your family has secrets, Rebecca. Dark, ugly secrets they've spent 12 years hiding. Now I have all of them. You're bluffing. Am I? Ask your mother about Maria Rodriguez. Carlos, 8-year-old Isabella and 5-year-old Sofia. Ask her how much it cost your father to keep Timothy out of prison for murdering entire family. Line quiet, almost 30 seconds. What do you want? She whispered. Justice. You withdraw divorce petition immediately, sign agreement giving me full custody, Connor and Madison. Ethan returns every stolen penny, disappears from our lives permanently. Your mother resigns from bench before I take this to FBI and media. You're asking us to destroy our lives. You tried destroying mine first. Difference is, everything I have on your family is true. Second call from Ethan, hour later. Where Rebecca was scared, Ethan was furious. You sick bastard. You've been spying on us like psychopath. I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of sick freak you are. Go ahead, make sure you tell them about $340,000 you stole. Mention offshore accounts and one-way Monaco ticket. I'm sure Rebecca will be interested hearing about your exit strategy. Line went quiet. That's right, Ethan. I know everything. Every account, every transfer, every lie you told Rebecca about feelings for her. You were planning to screw her over just like you screwed me. You can't prove anything. I can prove all of it. Bank records, flight confirmations, hotel receipts, documentation of every crime you've committed past year. Only question is whether you want to face charges in Chicago or spend life running from federal investigators. Third call was one I had been waiting for. Judge Patricia Walsh, usually commanding voice reduced to something smaller and fragile. What exactly do you want, Carter? Told Rebecca what I want. Justice for Rodriguez family. Consequences for your son. Your family out of my life permanently. You're asking me to destroy my career, reputation, everything I've worked for. You destroyed those things 12 years ago, helping your son get away with murder. I'm asking you to finally face consequences. And if we don't agree to your terms, then Maria Rodriguez, Carlos Rodriguez, Isabella Rodriguez, and Sofia Rodriguez finally get justice they deserved 12 years ago. Your entire family pays the price for what you did to them. Hung up without waiting for response. What I hadn't anticipated, how desperate Ethan would become realizing he was trapped. Next morning, discovered he'd made move I hadn't expected. Rebecca called 6:47 a.m. sobbing uncontrollably. Carter, Ethan's gone. He cleaned out every shared account and disappeared. Took everything. All money for new business, everything. Left me with nothing. Checked surveillance data. Ethan's car gone from apartment parking garage. Phone turned off. Quick call to American Airlines contact confirmed suspicion. Ethan Morrison booked emergency Paris flight departing 11:30 p.m. previous night. Bastard panicked and ran, leaving Rebecca holding the bag for everything they'd planned together. Please, Carter, Rebecca begged through tears. I made terrible mistakes, but we can fix this. Go back to way things were before. No, Rebecca, you made your choice deciding to destroy our family. Now you live with consequences. Immediately called FBI contact from Army days. Jake Murphy worked financial crimes from Chicago field office. Provided detailed information about Ethan's offshore accounts, theft from Rebecca's business, flight to France. 6 hours, Ethan's assets frozen by federal court order. 12 hours, name added to Interpol's international watch list. 18 hours, arrested at Charles de Gaulle Airport trying to board connecting Switzerland flight. Country with no U.S. extradition treaty. 2 weeks later, final meeting in Lawrence Sterling's office. Rebecca sat across looking completely different from confident woman I'd married 8 years earlier. Designer clothes wrinkled, perfect makeup smeared by tears she couldn't stop, hands shaking as she stared at custody agreement and asset division papers spread across table. Just sign them, Rebecca. Looked at documents like death sentence. Carter, please. Think about Connor and Madison. What this will do to them. I am thinking about them. Teaching them actions have consequences. Can't build life on lies and betrayal and expect it to last. She signed every document. Custody agreement giving me full parental rights. Asset division leaving her $50,000 in personal belongings. Formal written apology for misunderstanding husband's dedication to family. Aftermath came swift and complete. Judge Patricia Walsh announced federal bench resignation 3 days later, citing personal health issues requiring immediate attention. Everyone who mattered knew real reason. Avoiding federal prosecution for judicial corruption. FBI reopened Rodriguez's case with new evidence I'd provided. Timothy Walsh arrested at father's house on vehicular manslaughter, obstruction of justice, conspiracy charges. After 12 years' freedom, finally faced consequences for killing 4 innocent people. Senator Robert Walsh's political career ended in scandal when cover-up connection became public. 30 years carefully built influence and power destroyed in weeks. Announced he wouldn't seek re-election, quietly retired avoiding further investigation. Ethan Morrison extradited from France 2 months later. Charged with embezzlement, wire fraud, money laundering, conspiracy to commit theft. Federal prosecutors offered plea deal. 7 years prison exchanged for returning stolen money and testifying against others involved in financial crimes. He took it. Rebecca lost everything that mattered to her. Reputation in Chicago's social circles destroyed. Real estate business collapsed when clients learned about scandal. Wealthy friends stopped returning calls. Forced to sell BMW, jewelry, designer clothes, paying legal bills exceeding $200,000. Eventually found work as receptionist at small Schaumburg real estate office, making $32,000 yearly, about what she used to spend on handbags monthly. Luxury lifestyle she'd expected growing up was gone forever. Me? Got my children back. Connor and Madison live with me full-time now. First time in years, house feels like real home instead of battlefield. They're 8 now, old enough to understand sometimes adults make bad choices and families change. Business never been stronger. Word spread through Chicago's corporate community about how I'd handled Rebecca and Ethan's situation. Clients started seeking me out specifically because they knew I could protect them from any threat, external or internal. Reynolds Security Solutions now has 28 employees, annual revenue $4.2 million. Most important change, how I spend time. Surveillance equipment had gone from house. Late-night work sessions replaced with bedtime stories and Saturday morning chocolate chip pancakes. I coach Connor's Little League team, Lincoln Park Lions, and help Madison with art projects. I'm present in their lives in a way I wasn't before because I understand what I almost lost. 6 months after divorce finalized, sitting in backyard warm summer evening, watching Connor and Madison run through sprinklers, laughing so hard they could barely breathe. Their joy was pure, innocent, completely unaware of war I'd fought to preserve their childhood. Realized Rebecca had been right about one thing. I had chosen work over family too many years. Not anymore. Every decision I make starts with simple question: what's best for Connor and Madison? People sometimes ask if I regret how everything ended, if I wish I could have saved my marriage instead of destroying it. Answer is simple. Can't save something built on lies from beginning. Rebecca and Ethan thought they could manipulate me because they saw only what they wanted. Workaholic too focused on business to notice their betrayal. They were wrong about that, wrong about everything else. Their mistake cost them everything they thought they wanted. My patience and preparation gave me back everything that actually mattered. Didn't win through revenge or anger. Won through careful investigation, strategic thinking, understanding that truth is always more powerful than lies. Rebecca and Ethan destroyed themselves with greed and stupidity. I just made sure they couldn't take my children down with them. That's difference between justice and revenge. Revenge is making someone pay for hurting you. Justice is protecting what matters most, ensuring people face appropriate consequences for actions. Kids laugh and play in backyard. Business protects good people from bad ones. Rebecca answers phones at desk in suburbs, finally learning what real consequences look like. Ethan counts days in federal prison cell. Sometimes good guys win. Sometimes patience and preparation beat arrogance and greed. Sometimes truth really is enough. If you enjoyed this story, hit like and leave a comment. If you haven't subscribed, do it now and hit the notification bell for alerts about new stories like this. Thanks for watching. See you next video.